So a common teaching out there that does not line up with what we see in the scripture is that only the apostles had the ability to perform miracles. Now, anytime we talk about miracles, those that believe that miracles have ceased will always point out that only God performs miracles, not man. I think we're all in agreement on that. So I don't know that I would use that in any sort of debate to challenge people. Whether you believe in miracles or not, we're all in agreement that God is the one that's performing the miracles. However, there is teaching out there that only the apostles, only the apostles were used by God to perform miracles. And that's one of the reasons why people think that miracles have ceased, that they don't exist anymore. I know that not to be true because I have seen time and time again where God has used men and women today to perform miracles. But I just want to point out that even scripturally, we have examples of people who are not apostles that were able to perform miracles. I want to list some of them. First is Stephen. Stephen was one of the seven who was not an apostle. Acts 6 and 8 tells us that Stephen was full of faith and power and did great wonders and signs among the people. And here he's a clear example of someone who God used for great signs and wonders, yet he was not one of the 12. Then we have Philip the evangelist. He's one of my absolute favorite when you read the book of Acts. In Acts 8, we see that crowds listened to his message, and he performed miracles. There were unclean spirits that came out of people. The paralyzed and lame, they were healed. Even Simon the sorcerer saw the miracles that Philip performed, and he believed the gospel. He believed, and he was also baptized. Philip also goes on to baptize an Ethiopian eunuch, and then this great miracle takes place where when the eunuch comes out of the water, Philip has been swept up by the Spirit and is gone on down the road. So that's kind of a neat story there. We have Ananias. Ananias in Acts chapter 9 is simply referred to as a disciple, and yet he's the one that prays for who we know to then be the Apostle Paul. He prays for him, and Paul's sight is restored to him. He's just a regular believer. And then another example that we see even before the book of Acts is in Luke. We have the 70 or 72 disciples that Jesus sends out, and he commissions them. It says in Acts 10 and 9, they were commissioned to heal the sick. And then they returned to Jesus. They're all excited, and they said, "Lord, even the demons are subject to us in your name." This was the 70 or 72, not just the 12. And then my last point, well, this is actually not my last point. This is another point, I should say. James tells the elders in the church in James 5:14 and 15 that they are to lay hands on the sick, praying for them, that the Lord would heal them. So even Paul is commissioning the elders in the church to lay hands on people for them to be healed. And then this is actually my last statement on this that I want to make. Mark 16. Mark 16 says this: "These signs will follow those who believe." That's the key. There are signs that will follow the believer. Now, what are those signs? Jesus says, "In my name they will drive out demons. They will speak in new tongues. They will pick up snakes with their hands, and when they drink deadly poison, it will not hurt them at all. They will place their hands on sick people, and they will get well." So, was the ability to perform miracles only for the original 12? No, it wasn't. In fact, Paul wasn't even one of the original 12. So, as Jesus would say, same thing I would say. These signs accompany those who believe. God bless.